if it's what it takes to get Aaron Rodgers, then it's what it takes to get Aaron Rodgers. You got to be able to uh, surround him with good people where you know he's getting older, but you need to surround him with somebody he feels comfortable with.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, the Arn Anderson to my Bobby Eaton in the Dangerous Alliance. I'm in 1992 WCW, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, you caught me laughing at the Dangerous Alliance coming in. How you doing today on this Top Shelf Tuesday, sir?
Man, Arn and Ole were the best team. That's the best tag team ever. I'm good.
Ole was so real, man,
yeah,
with his
love
promos.
Yeah,
I was watching Ole's promos against Thunderbolt Patterson when Arn was his cousin. Oh, no, his nephew. Because they made Arn like 5,000 things in terms of family. And yeah, it was just so realistic. And, you know, I met the crotchety old man making fun of me for going to the Mid-Atlantic Legends Convention for my birthday. And I got to meet Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff. And Magnum said to Ole, hey, come on over, Ole, for this picture. This is his birthday. And Ole said, this is your birthday present? You must really blankety blank suck. I love that. That's a crotchety old man.
Sound right.
Yeah, pretty much. So
Sound
on
like
today, sounds exactly like him. So on today's Top Shelf Tuesday edition, we're going to talk NFL quarterback news and notes. The NFL is under investigation, so we'll talk about that in segment 2. And in segment 3 is the NFL draft evaluation in art or science. And we're going to ask Coach Francis to help out the Indianapolis Colts with their quarterback situation. But Mike, let's get to it. The New York Jets are trying to get Aaron Rodgers' band back together. The Jets have added 4 ex-Green Bay Packers: wide receiver Alan Lazard, quarterback Tim Boyle, tackle Billy Turner, and the beneficiary of beneficiaries, Randall Cobb. Mike, is this a good idea? And they also got Nathaniel Hackett there too. So what are you thinking about getting Aaron Rodgers' band back together for this New York Jets run?
Well, Rodgers and Cobb were together for 10 years.
10 years, man.
That's a long time.
A long time.
10 years. I think it's good. I just don't know how effective he's going to be. How many games he's going to play. When does he start? How many packages they actually include him in. So, but if it's what it takes to get Aaron Rodgers, then it's what it takes to get Aaron Rodgers. You got to be able to surround him with good people where you know he's getting older, but you need to surround him with somebody he feels comfortable with. And that person, the biggest thing about Cobb is he can teach those younger receivers. That's what it's going to be about. He's going to be in that wide receiver room, and that's going to make the Jets better with him in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, and this is not an uncommon practice. Tampa Bay brought in Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Brown, much to their chagrin, on the last one. But yeah, we tend to do that. But again, 10 years as a wideout in the league, you're in the AFC East, you're battling every week. Good luck to the Jets. I might take the unders. Wait, what?
Just slide that in there.
Nick Foles got released by the Colts because he came in with Frank Wright, and Frank Wright is now gone. Foles is 34, won a Super Bowl with Philly, and still one of the most improbable Super Bowls ever. The Colts have Gardner Minshew and Sam Ehlinger on the roster. My question for you, Mike, is one, is this it for Nick Foles? He's 34. And two, where would you send him if you could? Where would Nick Foles be a good fit? Because it's obviously not for the Colts.
You serious? Where would he fit?
There's always a need for a veteran backup. There is.
Then why can't he be a veteran backup in Indianapolis?
He was brought in under the wrong coach. So CBS Sports had some suggestions. Like to share them with you, sir. Green Bay. You think he could fit
No,
in Green Bay as Jordan Love's backup?
that would work. That's probably the only place it will work because you got Jordan Love who's taking over for Aaron Rodgers now. You're gonna need a veteran backup to be their support because Aaron Rodgers wasn't gonna ever be that. You know that. He ain't
Well,
supporting nobody.
they also recommended the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm sure he could use Todd Bowles could use pretty much anything right now.
Mm.
And then the final recommendation was the Philadelphia Eagles to have him go back and back up Jalen. I
That
didn't
would-
like any of that.
Yeah, I don't know. Would he sign? He probably would because the check is the
Got a
check.
statue out front.
The check is the check. So I
All
don't
right.
want no statue to be the backup.
All right. And finally, this segment. Be like Roy Rogers and slow down. Lamar Jackson officially signed his 5-year, $260 million contract last week, setting all kinds of records. Good for you. But Jackson also revealed he has a more ambitious number in mind. He'd like to throw for 6,000 yards at the new receivers that the Ravens have picked up. Now, Jackson has never surpassed 3,200 yards in a season, but he's excited about Odell Beckham Jr., Nelson Aguilar, and Zay Flowers being picked up with the 22nd pick in the draft. Mike, can they get this done? Can he throw for a career high in passing yards this year and maybe even eclipse 6,000?
Man, I was doing the math. That's why I was looking down. I was trying to do the math for 6,000 yards over 17 weeks. Lamar's not throwing for 350 yards a week. That's out. That's out.
So that's just ambitious and talking loud and saying
I
enough.
understand what he want to do. That's cool, but it's 352 yards a week. When's the last time that happened?
It has.
Oh,
When his career high is 3,200. That didn't happen.
you gonna
So
jump from 32 to man. All right,
slow down.
let's say 4,000. Let's be more realistic.
Okay.
Actually, 32, and he ain't had no receivers. It's possible. If he did
4,000
half of that,
possible.
no, 5,000 is possible.
Is
If he
John
did
Harbaugh still the
32
coach?
If he did 32 without any receivers and is running as much as he did, now he has receivers where he won't do as much running. It won't be run focused. He'll throw the ball more. We're gonna
Teacher, is John Harbaugh still the coach?
He ain't the offensive coordinator. He let that
Okay.
clown last time destroy the damn team. Harbaugh ain't doing that.
Okay. All right. So, fans, when we come back, the NFL is under formal investigation. So, I kind of want to unpack this with my partner. I got a feeling he's going to have some choice words about the investigation. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA Save Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA Save Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 2, the NFL is under investigation. So let me tell you the who. Prosecutors in New York and California launched an investigation into the NFL's workplace culture last week, issuing subpoenas to executives of one of the world's richest sports leagues in search of documents related to an array of accusations, including racial discrimination and sexual harassment. New York Attorney General Latita James and California Attorney General Rob Bonta, both Democrats, I should say, according to the article, say they are not targeting any of the league's 32 teams. Instead, their investigation is focused on the league itself, specifically its corporate offices in New York and California. Let me tell you why, Mike, before I let you speak, and then we'll give you the NFL statement. The investigation is in response to what Bonta called a, quote, robust public record that points to a, quote, disturbing and concerning set of allegations about gender and racial discrimination in the NFL. That includes lawsuits filed by former employees, congressional hearings last year into the workplace practices of the Washington Commanders, and a 2022 New York Times article detailing allegations of gender discrimination by more than 30 former NFL employees. Mike, with your administrative hat on, this just came across your desk. What is your immediate thought before I give you the NFL statement?
We better have a good lawyer.
Well, the NFL has a lot of them because nothing seems to stick with them.
NFL is a great, large entity, and it's like they're undefeated, so to speak. Even when they get a black eye, they still come out of it. And it's because they're so invested in so many different companies with so many different business owners and billionaires. You got 32 billionaires together and who are lobbyists, who are, political, even when they don't want to admit they're political. So it's difficult. It's hard to take down them.
Yes. And the league statement said it would cooperate with the investigation, but called the allegations, quote, entirely inconsistent with the NFL values and practices. The NFL offices are places where employees of all genders, races, and backgrounds thrive. We do not tolerate discrimination in any form, the league officials said in a statement. So let's take you to the past real quick, fans. In the past, the NFL has faced investigations before, including an inquiry by the USDA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, into former players' claims that they were mishandled with prescription drugs. But the investigation announced last week appears to be the first of its kind, dealing with workplace violations in the league's corporate office. There have been complaints of race and sex discrimination in the past. We have covered the former owner of the Washington Commanders, Dan Snyder's case. We also have fired Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores, his lawsuit over the alleged racist hiring practices of the league. And we also have a case filed by Jennifer Love, a former director of NFL Enterprises, talking about layoffs and retaliation for her complaints. Beyond the lawsuits, there's stories of dozens of former NFL female employees talking about mistreatment. In addition, years ago, we had the Ray Rice situation, and let's say that was not handled very well. Mike, do you think this lawsuit's going to go anywhere, or this will be another one that in a few weeks, it will be something else?
Yeah, we won't be talking about this in 2 or 3 weeks. It'll be over. It'll be off. They'll say something. Somebody will have a conversation. One lawyer will speak to someone else. They'll start talking about how they can satisfy the issue or make it, kind of create some new initiative, throw some money at some new initiative to make it go away, and all is forgotten.
All right. Well, speaking of something that's not been forgotten, there is talk now that the Washington Commanders may finally move back to Washington, D.C. in the future. Mm-hmm. The Washington Commanders say they are supporting efforts by the District of Columbia government to get control of the RFK site that used to be the team's home. The land less than roughly 2 miles east of the Capitol, and for people our age, we remember Pat Summerall, John Madden, the Capitol in the back, of Washington Redskins and RFK in the stadium shaking with the crust hanging off, the crud everywhere. A lot of good football there, but bad fields. But when Jack Kent Cooke wanted a new stadium, he moved to FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, which was called Cooke Stadium in Rowell John. They've also talked about moving to Virginia. There's another site in Oxon Hill at the MGM Casino where there's a plot of land. Mike, I gotta ask you, as a longtime resident of the area and an aficionado of these things, where would you want the Commanders? Back in DC, the Oxon Hill site where the casino is, or not even Northern Virginia, Southern Virginia, closer to Richmond?
Nah, DC. They got to go back to DC. They got to go back to RFK, rebuild that baby, put the renovations on it. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. You need to be in RFK. Point blank. You're Washington Commanders. You need to be in Washington. But not only that, they need to build some facilities around them for practice, for offices, for things like that. There's no need to play the games there and still have to travel all the way to Virginia.
Ashburn.
All that. And if you want to build up around it, now this also allows you to build up apartment complexes and everything that's around the stadium like they do in New England. You know, put some shopping and things like that that will allow the new owners. Magic Johnson's part of the new ownership, right?
I can see the movie theater
The movie theater from the stadium.
Now, while I got you, before we close out, do you change the name or are you staying with Commanders?
Stay with Commanders. You've had so much change of identity now, and you think of the name they had before, you think of Daniel Snyder. If you think of the Commanders, it's something totally different. It kind of changes who they are with the name, because you don't want to go through a whole nother name change. Now,
can you go back to Redskins?
Ooh, would the Guardians go back to Braves? I'm saying, I'm asking. Then why would?
I'm just asking. My Washington people, I have a very impassioned fan in my social circle, and he refuses to call them Commanders. And somebody accidentally made me think of you, called them Commodores yesterday. I said, that sounds like Mike, and Mike did it by accident. He was like, hey, the Commodores. No. All right, so fans, when we get back, we're going to ask my partner, who's the NFL draft in art or science, and let him book Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student-athlete academic and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student-athletes. As student-athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student-athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches podcast. This is why we're not in city planning. And in segment 3, got to talk about the NFL draft. The NFL draft has turned more and more to like a Coachella type festival, with an estimated 312,000 people attending this year's draft in Kansas City. So the draft was held in New York City from 1965 to 2014, including Radio City Music Hall, but now it has moved across the country. And ESPN's reporter Adam Schefter reported that for like cities who can't get a Super Bowl, they're going to start bidding for drafts. And the draft next year is going to be in New York. And since it's in April, nobody's really worried about the weather or anything like that. It's like an off-season Super Bowl. So what do you think about that before we start talking about the draft itself in terms of success? Do you like that idea? And if the draft was held in DC, would you go and hang out for 3 days?
I like what they're doing. It's good for them to be able to do that, but like I can't see me hanging out down there like that. Like that's too much. That's overkill. It's like a concert now, like you say, which is cool. It's like a weekend festival. That's all right, but yeah, that's too many people, too much alcohol.
Yes, too much foolishness. Okay. So now, Mike, I want to talk to you about the draft process. It's the NFL draft and art or science. So we're headed into the 2023-2024 season, and teams are picking up their fifth-year option on their rookies from the 2020 draft. Okay. So first, fans, what's a fifth-year option? According to overthecap.com, the 2020 collective bargaining agreement allows for teams to exercise a fifth-year option for players drafted in the first round as an addition to the standard 4-year rookie contract. So upon being exercised, the fifth-year option is fully guaranteed. Any base salary in the player's fourth year that was not fully guaranteed will become fully guaranteed, and the fifth-year salary is calculated based on 4 tiers: the basic tier, the playtime tier, 1 Pro Bowl, and multiple Pro Bowls. So I want to review the class of 2020. And first, let me say that there's 3 2020 first round draft picks who are no longer in the NFL and not eligible. Henry Ruggs III, who was picked 12th. He had his unfortunate situation in Las Vegas. Damon Arnett, picked at number 19, and number 29, Isaiah Wilson. The number 31 pick, Jeff Gladney, unfortunately passed in an automobile accident last May. So now there are 27 players eligible for their fifth-year option. 14 were declined, Mike, and 13 were exercised. So those are not good numbers. So we're not going to go through each of the players, but we're going to go through the positions, and you have them in front of you. Quarterback was 4 for 4. 4 guys up, 4 guys picked up, although Jordan Love agreed to a 1-year contract extension. So what thoughts do you have about the quarterbacks being picked up?
Of course, the quarterback's going to get picked up. Like, that's the biggest, the biggest position as put forth by the owners and taken care of. So I wouldn't doubt anything other than that. That's going to happen. They're all going to be picked up for their option.
Okay. And then the running backs and let me give you one of the quarterbacks, because we care about that position. That's Joe Burrow from Cincinnati, Tua, Justin Herbert, and Jordan Love. Because it's quarterback. I don't care about the defensive tackles.
But they already earned it, though. Every last one of them have earned it, to be honest with you. I
don't know about that Love kid.
Well, he hadn't had a chance yet. So
and that's why he signed a 1-year extension.
Yeah, we're going to find out.
Yes, we are. All right, running back. There was only one running back picked, and his fifth-year option was not picked up. That's not unexpected on my end. What do you think? First 4 years of running back. All right, we're done with you. Yeah, good luck to you. We'll get another one.
It's the most I would say the most. They have turned that position into almost where almost anybody can do it. Not saying anybody can, but they have devalued that position over the years as owners. They have devalued the running back position.
I think that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
So wide receiver, there were 5 wide receivers picked in the 2020 draft in the first round. 4 out of those 5 had their deals extended and exercised. Any thoughts about that with the wide receiver position?
I don't know about Rieger. I don't even know who that is. That name doesn't even sound familiar to me.
I guess that's why he was declined.
Yeah.
Talk about Jalen Reagor.
Yeah. Why was his name even in why? Why? Did he even play? Was it an option to bring him back? Don't you have to do something for them to bring you back? Just saying. I know Jared Judy, I know CeeDee Lamb, I know Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson should have had even more money. Brandon,
Well, that's how they hold you down, brother. That's how they hold you.
Yeah, well, they'll pick him up somewhere else because somebody will say that he's talented. He probably run fast, and somebody's going to try to put him in. And by now, I'm sure somebody's already tried to pick him up. So,
all right, there were 6 offensive linemen selected, and 3 of those 6 had their fifth-year options exercised. That's 50%, Mike. Is that about right?
I thought it would be more. If any position I thought would be true, it would be the line position.
Okay, and fans, although we're not going through names, I'm looking at the teams that declined. That means they picked wrong, and one of them are the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
And their quarterback.
But let's call it what it is. You see the New Orleans Saints, you see the Washington Commanders, you see the Jacksonville Jaguars, you see the Arizona Cardinals. These people are where they are for a reason. Like, teams don't stay bad this long without having issues with upper management, talent evaluation, the processing, the way they pay people. Like, it's a lot to go in. You got to really do a lot to make a team really horrible, like
Mhm.
almost intentionally.
Yeah. For defensive ends, there were 2 defensive ends taken, and neither one of them had their 5th-year option picked up.
Chase
Both
Young can't stay
declined.
healthy. He can't stay healthy. To me, I mean,
Yeah. Number one ability is availability, and he hadn't been
the
available.
number one ability
He
is
has not been
available.
available.
Yep.
Defensive tackles, there were 2 picked,
Mhm.
one, and that's 50%, 1 out of 2. Okay.
That's about right.
What about linebackers? There were 4 linebackers picked, and all 4 of them
Mhm.
didn't get picked up again. Their options been declined.
The only question I have is as Patrick Queen. That was it. He was pretty good. But it's the Ravens. The Ravens ain't paying nobody without a fight. Like, you got to drag them to the bank. Like, they seriously, they don't, man. Whew, they shrewd.
And cornerbacks, 1 out of 3. There was 3 selected. Only 1 had their option picked up, and the other 2 were declined. So goes back to the beginning question. Mike, in your opinion, is the NFL draft evaluation an art or a science?
I don't think it's either. I don't think it's. I mean, some talent jumps off the film. You don't have to be some 30-year experienced talent evaluator to see talent. Like, I mean, some things are just true. Like, science is the dude ran a 4.3, right? That's
Yeah.
science. But the art is, how do I build the team? So it's a kind of little bit of both. Like, I'm the Jets, for instance. How many quarterbacks have they drafted?
They've drafted a few, and none of them have pretty much panned out.
Right. So whoever was in their front office need to be fired.
Because you had to go get a 40-year-old man and pay for it.
GM got to be gone. But this ain't now though. Like, they should have been through, like, it should have been a new GM every time they lost a quarterback. Because your ass need to go. If you can't, I mean, coaches are judged on wins and losses.
Yes.
Players are judged on performance.
Yes.
How's a GM judged?
And it should be on wins, losses, and player performance. So I'm in agreement with you. It's both, because all of this is a chemistry experiment, and all you're doing is looking for who fits you. So one of the things that we were very good at Hood College, and what you were very good at when you were at Essex, is finding folks who fit how you want to play.
Yep.
Instead of getting some name person.
Yep.
I kind of ran away from names, because I got to bring the name to this, and the names come with a lot of people, and I only have 1 scholarship. So thanks for let's going through that. And now we want to put your skills to the test. Anthony Richardson was selected 4th by the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson is a 20-year-old quarterback who played maybe 13 games, small sample size in the SEC. And let's just say he was playing against older quarterbacks, and we'll just leave it at that. But the Colts said, and I quote, and this is from Colts management, "I didn't want to look up and watch him be a superstar somewhere else. If he's going to be a superstar, he's going to be a superstar for the Colts." That kind of gave me pause. He also said, in terms of their director of college scouting, they called Richardson a purple horn unicorn because of his rare combination of athleticism, size, and arm talent. Again, Mike, he's 20. You just got rid of a proven backup, but you do have Gardner Minshew there. If you would book this upcoming season, how would you do it? Would you sit him, play him, wait till you're out of the playoff hunt? How would you do this?
Depends on, I would play it as the season goes along. I wouldn't announce him as my starter right away, especially, I'd let him be a backup. And then once it was acknowledged that we're not going to make the playoffs, you put him in, but you stand the chance of losing your team. You might get a bump for a week or two because the new kid is in. Everybody plays a little harder or protects that new kid. But that's only going to be good enough for like two games, 2.5 games. And then everybody falls back to the regular self. It's the Colts. What's around them? Did I put quality people around them? Can my line block for him and he ain't getting beat the hell up? Can I establish a running game? Do I have a good enough running back? Because the running game is quarterback's best friend. Do I have receivers? Like, what do I have around this young man? We talk about the Eagles. The Eagles built it the right way. Eagles went out and got people for that young man, that quarterback. And the young man was able to flourish. If we're not going to surround Richardson with the talent to be successful, let him sit. Go with what we got. I mean, it can't get any worse, can it?
Well, two quick things I'd love for you to respond to. One, Florida had a losing record when he was quarterback. And two, Richardson is quoted as saying he can't learn from sitting. He wants to get out there from day one. How would you respond to that?
I mean, he's going to say what he wants to say. He's a competitor. That means he's a competitor. I take that as him being a competitor. That's what I want. And as far as losing in Florida ain't had no talent since Spurrier left.
You win. Urban Meyer had talent.
Well, okay, but
just don't worry about character. Just worry about talent.
Urban Meyer had more.
They'll kill you. Oops.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. So
a drug dealer and a murderer walk into a bar.
Okay.
Oh, it was on Florida campus.
You took my joke to the next level. Okay. All right. So finally, my partners got me in this kicker business. Okay. So blame Mike for me really digging in deep on these kickers. So the 2023 NFL draft marked the highest a kicker has been taken since 2016, when Michigan's Jake Moody was selected by the San Francisco 49ers with the 99 overall pick.
Where's
Mike?
He now? Jake Moody.
He's with the 49ers.
Okay.
He is just the sixth kicker since 2000 to be selected in the top 100. So Niners fans, some of them are quite critical of spending the 99th pick on a kicker. So GM John Lynch said that was their one chance to get Moody. Kickers do not have the most flashiest position, but this guy can be a long-term solution. Quote, I can tell you since then, a lot of teams have called and said, I was going to get him. So that's his argument. Plus, they had extra draft picks because of the supplementary pick. The Niners had Robbie Gould for a long time. And he says, and I quote, I think this guy will give us an opportunity to extend where we've been able to kick from. We can now kick 55-plus yard field goals now. I think on kickoffs, he can kick it to the end zone. We can hang it up there, and he affords us the opportunity to do a lot of things. Mike, as we close, tell me about this in-depth analysis on what the kicker position can do for the San Francisco 49ers. The floor is yours, my friend.
I'm not into worried about where I'm going to kick from. Like, I understand that's important when the time comes, but damn, I got to get in the end zone. You can't win games just by kicking 55-yard field goals. That might happen once, twice.
Three times, I made that.
How you going to get in the end zone? Talk to me about that. Don't talk to me about, now we can kick 55-yard field goals. You still got to get to that mark. 55-yard field goal means you got to get the ball to the 40 at least.
Man.
What if you can't move the ball? What if you can't move the ball and get to the 40? What if you can't move the ball?
Well, this is going to be something that I pay attention to.
Quarterback position.
All right. So with that, on behalf of my tag team partner and kicker aficionado, Coach Mike Francis, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening. and watch the iCoaches podcast. And we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The iCoaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.